Everybody seemed to know this song but me. Where have I been? I love the lyric, and I love the message. I love you. Every one of you, name by name, person by person, individual by individual, we welcome you. We welcome your presence in the universe, on this planet. And today, thank you. We love you and welcome you and want you to be in this place with us, filling this wonderful space and thinking and dreaming and imagining a better you or a better experience of you or of yourself. We do that all the time inadvertently. We're always dealing with issues that are painful, but at the same time, we're imagining things better rather than bitter. And that's a choice to decide whether things will be better or bitter. To our illustrious pastor, we love you so much, Marlon. You're visionary, your dreams, you're reaching out and dealing with all the things that after pastoring for 30 years, I know there's a lot of babysitting that goes along with pastoring. There's a lot of dealing with rejections and questions and a lot of cooperation, or we couldn't do it. So my sensitivities toward the pastorate and pastors is high. My dad was a pastor, his dad was a pastor, David's dad's a pastor. My mother's grandfather was a pastor. So we know what pastoring is, and we're all in therapy. It's just such a wonderful... Not really, but that don't mean we don't need it. I want to talk about soulmates versus soul ties. I'm sort of in a lecturing mood more than a preaching mood, but just the reference to what I just touched on, the covenant that we have with our calling or with our coding. Most covenants or many covenants are inadvertent. We don't do them always awareingly or intentionally or deliberately. There are certain covenants, which means agreements, compacts with yourself that automatically occur. Covenant is all about commitment. And commitment is the act, state, or quality of being dedicated to a cause or to a course, to a person, to an activity, an ideology. It suggests and directs your loyalties, your allegiances, and your engaging thoughts and values. And when you have lived for as many decades as I have, and you have made various covenants along the way, and there's one that's been there all the time, and that's the covenant to exist. Somehow from our mother's womb, maybe from the first time her egg is fertilized with our dad's seed, there's an energy in that fertilized egg that is intentional and conventional and convenes with itself. It must say, I'm going to become a man or a woman or a human. It must say, I will grow earlobes and eyeballs and fingernails and later on hair and legs. And it has a science and a biology to it and a chemistry to it that we don't, as normal full-grown adults, decide. This is a baby that learns somehow to pull its thumb to its mouth while still in its mother's womb. How it knows to do that. Then and later, when the baby comes out and is handed to its mother, it immediately knows to suck from the breast and live. I was just thinking this morning about the automatic covenants of my life and my soul and me as a human being. What's working without my awareness? What's working without my support? What's working covenantly? How has my body committed to itself? And why am I still here? And as healthy as I am? And what part of me became committed to something that is less healthy? Whether that's eating habits or thought patterns. Have I yielded to a covenant with which I really don't agree, but somehow I am cooperating with it? When you talk about the good, the bad, or the ugly, there are healthy covenants and unhealthy covenants, and we make both of them. My objective today is to point out to you the importance of doing that either deliberately and awareingly or breaking a covenant that doesn't work for you well. Some of those things happen automatically too. There are antibodies in our bodies right now. Science tells us that most adults have little cancer cells in them all the time are coming and going. Every once in a while, every other week, you find out there's something you're eating that has something in it that can cause cancer, and yet you're not dead and you don't feel the effects of the cancer. Your body has a covenant with itself, antibodies to fight foreign things that are harmful to it. That happens by nature. Our body heals itself by nature. Our mind is constantly in conflict and sometimes defense of its own sanity. That's why you have varying thoughts and a diversity of thoughts, and sometimes they are at war. Your first covenant is very personal and perhaps the most powerful one that is that covenant to life, to live. Somehow, I'm saying this by conjecture, but I believe that I agreed to come here. I think we all did. I think we made a pre-incarnate covenant. Because somehow the mystery or the missed story of how I got here and why so many die or so many times an egg is not fertilized, or that several 100 million microscopic seed chased the one egg or ovum that our mothers had, and all of them died except that one seed that fertilized the egg. And that produced me. I remember my dad telling me the story when he went to war that as a young teenager, in World War II, how his mother was so concerned that he might not come back, wanted him to commit his life to Christ so that he would get saved in case he got killed over there, he would go to heaven, even though he would go through hell on his way. So Daddy didn't want to get saved because in our culture, that meant you couldn't smoke or drink or dance or have parties or have fun. You just had to be miserable and go to heaven. So Daddy didn't really want to commit then. But he did say this to his mother was in tears, and he did say to her, Mom, listen, and this is the way my daddy would have said it. He said, Mom, if don't but one person come back from this war, I'm going to be that person. Daddy goes off into what you call it when you first go with the training, boot camp, and went AWOL. Well, he didn't really go. He got drunk, and because he wasn't saved. He got drunk and overslept and missed his battalion's return, and the whole battalion went to Europe without him. Daddy had to go with another group. But he later learned that everybody in the original battalion was killed but him. That whole group was killed. Daddy came back to his mom. He said, I'm the onlyest one, the way he said, I was the onlyest one who came back alive. And he said, and I had to be here for you, son. You had to be born. And that was an impacting comment that he made. That somehow, even though he was drunk or got high or AWOL, what his mother would have considered and the rest of us a sin, somehow that happened in order for me to come to the planet and the other 6 children that my mother birthed through my dad. One of them, the first one, only lived a few hours. It made me think, and I've thought many times about certain covenants that are made inadvertently, that are made without our awareness, and that you are the fulfillment of that covenant and you don't even know it. But if you are aware of that and the speculations about it, all things really do ultimately work in concert for a larger covenant. That the universe has a covenant with itself. The seasons rarely change. The trees and the grass and the animals and the wind and the rain and the seas and even the glaciers that are melting. And I watch the Alien channel a lot. What's wrong with my brain? There's made a covenant to forget. Alien.
Sci-fi.
It's on National Geographic. Evidently, y'all don't watch it. It's something about aliens, I can't forget, but it's fascinating. And it's very scientifically produced, very well produced. They go all over the world, and you look at the pyramids and valleys and things that might be occurring under the earth. It seems to me, I'll think of it in a little bit. It seems to me that there's a big, huge agreement out there that is non-corporeal. There's an energy or a spirit or an intelligence in the universe that has made an agreement to preserve itself for now. And you and I are all part of that covenant. And within those covenants, there are covenants. And within those covenants, there are covenants. And so I decided to new and afresh of late, I'm going to realize or imagine covenants and then cooperate with them. There also seems to be covenants of opposition, covenants that are adversarial, covenants somewhere, and even with some people who strategize against your success. It's like politics, how men and women get behind closed doors and they strategize and they make an agreement to stop something or to start something, to convene something, or they enter literally a coven and they convene around a covenant. Covens are not just for witches and warlocks, unless all of us are that. And maybe we are in one way or another. We get together and we make agreements to do things. Our first covenant is a physical and biological commitment, as well as a mental and psychological one, to survive the experience and phenomenon of existence. You are here, first of all, because you know something. Secondly, because you agree with what you know. Thirdly, in most cases, you have forgotten both. And from time to time in life, you are reminded of why you came, or at least that you're here. As Mark Twain so brilliantly states, the two most important days of your life is the day you're born and the day you recognize why. If I were to go around the room and ask you individually, why do you think you're here? Do you feel like you're feeling or fulfilling purpose or destiny? Do you have any conscious covenants beyond the one that is to your marriage or fatherhood or motherhood or childhood or siblinghood, or the covenant on your job, or the covenant that you're going to make for our building project downtown, or your covenant for the next year's operating costs here at All Souls, your covenant to meet with certain people certain times, your covenant toward every Thanksgiving or every Christmas, or a covenant to make a vacation later on this year or next year? What covenants are you making, and how aware are you of those covenants? Because some of those covenants are deadly and negative and can be harmful to you, whether you know you made them or not. Being aware of who you are, that's what we call consciousness or conscience, conscience, with science, with knowledge. Science means knowing. What do you know? Sometimes in opposition to what you believe. What are the things you really, really know? You might answer that first by saying, well, I'm not sure how much I know, but not very much compared to all there is to know. That's a good start. And then if I ask you additionally, okay, what do you believe about what you know? It's one thing to say you know something, then we develop beliefs around what we think we know, what we identify. If you have a slight headache, or you're getting thirsty, or you're getting uncomfortable in those chairs, or you need to clear your throat. Most of us do that inadvertently. Pull an earlobe. We change a position. Because your body will make you, your body has said, change hips. That one is tired. To some of you, your body said, change lips, and that's a whole nother thing. But you're constantly adjusting to who you are and who you're not. Your first soulmate is yourself. You make a commitment to yourself. You, yourself, and you, or me, myself, and I. That's the first covenant I made, and I didn't realize I made it because it happened automatically. Recognition of and commitment to life principles is naturally first and foremost in our lives and an overall human sentient. We're survivalists by nature. Listen to me when I remind you, you are here because you made a covenant to survive your mother's pregnancy and the birthing process. Somehow you covenanted to come here and last. You are not a stillbirth. But you've been still ever since you were born, but you need to quicken to why you're here. How did you get here? How did you survive? Out of the millions of people that are too sick to move today across the planet, or even dead or will die in the next hour, how in the world did you survive? When you look at members of your family or friends, why were you not hit by a car? Or why haven't you stumbled down a stairwell and broke something in your leg or a bone? How in the world did you last and still have some semblance of sanity? There There's not enough going on in your life to make you crazy anyway. And somehow you couldn't even survive that craziness if you were not a little crazy. I'm just a little crazy. And I'm enjoying my insanity, that part of it. I enjoy when it says the sane thoughts. Some thoughts are not sane. They're not sanitized thoughts. If all my thoughts were completely sanitized, I might be an imbecile or I might be a zombie. But there's enough deadly negative emotion in there to not make me take myself too seriously. That's a natural, normal covenant, but I need to be aware of it because it can go into extremes. And when it gets into extremes, it makes you scream and scratch and claw, and then you get violent. By soul, I'm referring to the spiritual or immaterial part of the human being. A soul tie and a soul mate are two different things. I'm trying to avoid soul ties and distinguish between a soul tie and a soul mate. We just did a beautiful wedding here yesterday, Desiree and LaTanya over there, and they're here this morning. And some of the children and grandchildren that participated in it, they recognized soul mates. They've discovered each other on the the dating network. What do you call it? Site. And they done flew around here and got married. There's all kinds of people who find a soul mate. But when the soul mate becomes a soul tie, you find the bondage there. And I wasn't aware that I have both soul mates and soul ties. I don't even want to be tied to myself in the place that I can't be me. And I can't be free, and I can't expand my consciousness and my ways and walks and wonders and the wisdom of my existence on the planet. So remember to make the difference between the two and decide. It is also the emotional, intellectual energy. I'm talking about these soul, a soul tie or soulmate, the energy, especially as revealed in a work of art, the soul. You heard of soul music, soul food. What is all that? Is that an ethnic expression? Are black people the only ones that like colored greens and neck bones? I was surprised when I found neck bones in some of these stores. Now, the research out south, you can find neck bones and maybe here, but some stores, you're not going to find neck bones and pig feet and chitlins and hog maws. Some of your mind went blank, three statements back. You don't know what any of that is. What is soul food is a lot of people eat greens, and a lot of people like cabbage, and a lot of people like that kind of cuisine. And then others like the more exotic types of food. You might like a Chinese restaurant or Italian food, or you like Mexican food, but your favorite might be soul, or your favorite might be Italian, but you have a diversity, and your taste buds have a covenant with themselves. You ever heard anybody say, I don't have a taste for that today? That doesn't mean you're not hungry. That means you get to make a choice. I don't have a taste for church today. Or I don't have a taste for going to work. I don't want to go to I'm not going to do my normal thing today. My taste has changed. Now, you could break the covenant that you have with the walk if you walk or run every single day, or meditate at a certain time every single day, or eat a certain way, or wake up at a certain time, or go to sleep at a certain time, or watch a certain movie or series. Or we have a lot of habits, a lot of hobbies, and a lot of hungers. And sometimes they're in conflict with each other. So covenants are being made all the time around you. And some of them are dangerous. And some of them are actually supporting and helping to define another covenant or to buttress that covenant. You have to make that decision. And it's a daily operative of the mind. It's a daily deliberate challenge. And I think the universe also charges you to do that as well. In ancient Greek, the word soul is psyche, English psyche. Psychology, thought life. It means literally to breathe, but it's the totality of the human mind, the consciousness, the unconscious, and comprises the mental abilities of a living being. I am conscious. There's a lot of people walking around sleepwalking. They're not conscious. You are in the same room with them, and they don't know they're there. Or they don't know you're there. Or they don't know anything else is there but them. They're totally unconscious of their surrounding. Some people are very self-conscious. They're constantly fixing themselves. If you're uncomfortable about your body size or your body shape or your hair or how your face may have wrinkles, people are constantly doing things to try to make themselves feel comfortable with themselves. Now, usually nobody is more uncomfortable with you than you. You're extra self-conscious about, and you made a covenant with that self-consciousness that I'm never going to be good enough, so when I walk in a room, I got to fix myself up. I have to be very sensitive because people are looking at me. I need a mirror. Do I look okay? It's not a matter of whether you look okay. Do you feel okay about how you look? And what do you think about how you feel about how you look? Because one thing adds to another. Turn to the person next to you and say, I have a covenant to sit here with you today. Now, I'm going to break that covenant in a minute as soon as he's finished, and I'm going to stop sitting next to you. But for the moment, when you get in the car to drive, you have a covenant to drive safely, even if you're texting along the way. But sometimes your covenant to drive safely is in place, but also your covenant to text.
Don't text while driving.
It's easy to say don't text, but when you get an urgent text, I've actually texted people back and said, you shouldn't be texting while you're driving. Or I text them back and say, I'm driving now. I don't text while I'm driving. Yeah. We do these things again inadvertently. We stand for the principle of not texting or not answering the phone or not carrying on a conversation. Now you can push something that says I'm driving on your phone. You don't have to type it out. It just says I'm driving. And if you don't have your glasses on, I've actually can't even see the text and still trying to drive. Hold it way. And what do I have? Do I have a covenant with to be safe or a covenant to make sure the person knows that I'm not ignoring them? Or a covenant with what I think is urgent or emergent? Are you driven by the phone or driven by a passion to be safe? You have to decide. And I want you to be aware of those kinds of covenants. Some teach that even non-biological entities such as rivers and mountains and possess souls. You know, it's called animism. That there's a soul in the fountain. There's a soul in the leaf. I don't know that there's a soul, but I think everything is conscious of itself. Even the thought itself is conscious of itself. I think that an idea has power, conscious power. I think whether it's negative or positive, a tear, a bead of sweat, something that passes through or out of your body. It's almost like everything is animated in some way because there's microscopic cells and atoms and neutrons working all the time around us. This room is full of dust particles, and there's something on the particles and another particle on that particle. You are covered right now with stuff. Lice and mice, it's all over you. You don't even know it. There's living entities on you right now that are conscious of being there. They're there on purpose, and if they weren't, you might be sick. They say that 90% of the dust in any home is human skin. Something is always happening, and I think those things are designed to occur. There are certain occurrences in your life that occur by both design and assignment. There are certain things that are going to happen to you this coming week that have an assignment, and they are designed to accomplish or trigger something in your life that's important. It's not impotent. It came there potent, powerful, with potential to make a difference in your physical being as well as in your psyche. Your soul is very aware of itself. And the soul has made a covenant. And the soul's covenant is with the mate of its purpose. I am here on purpose, with purpose, commissioned with permission for the mission. So are all of us. It seems like some people have a mission to irritate you. They're designed and assigned to irritate you. They're friends or family or you might call foes. Some of you are never around your enemies. All your friends are your friends, and they worry you all the time. You work with people you really like, and they irritate the heck out of you. And yet you like them. And somehow you welcome some people that go around and saying, they always do this to me. That's a powerful, what do you mean? Wait, back up. They always do that to you? So everywhere you go, you experience that? That means something in your consciousness invites that, expects that, and invokes that. Go on, leave me. They all leave me. You gonna leave me too? You always lose a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You can't stay in any relationship. Gone, the last 15 did it, so that's you. It ain't all the people that leave. There's something that you have covenanted with in your spirit that says, I'm not worthy of a healthy relationship. People are not going to like me because they're not supposed to like me. Or you can be given blessings, wonderful blessings, and you don't feel worthy of the blessing and you find a way to screw it up. Some people are so committed to the adrenal high they get with a crisis that they're going to create a crisis where there is not one. Things are wonderful, but you're afraid of things being wonderful. You don't feel worthy of wonderful. You only feel worthy to fight for wonderful. You only feel worthy to be a victim of not feeling wonderful. So you create the crisis in your own life and you get a high off adrenaline. Fixing problems. And if there's no problem to fix, you're bored and you feel insignificant. The covenant that you have innately is a command in your mental being to accomplish a certain thing through, to, and for yourself, even if it's against you. If you don't feel significant without a problem, you will create one so you can just feel that you are a sign or have a sign or assignment or you are designed or resigned. You are the signal or the signification that you're putting into the universe. Let me ask you, what are you putting out there? What are you sending into the atmosphere right now? What happens in a room when you enter it? What happens in a room when you leave it? Some people are so negative to when they come in a room, you feel like somebody got up and left. It's like, what happened? They sucked some energy out of the room. And everywhere they go, they have made a covenant to mess up the atmosphere or to mix up the atmosphere or to disturb the atmosphere. And that could be you. If everywhere you go there's trouble, that's you. You're generating that everywhere you go. Unhealthy soul ties. Soulmates are natural. They enter your life naturally. They pass through your life naturally. But soul ties are invited, are invoked, and invented. And that's the bondage you feel regardless of how free you are. Do like this, just shake something around. I like to have you do that every once in a while. You have to even make sure that you don't make soul ties with unhealthiness, and soul ties with deadly negative emotions, and soul ties with depression. It's okay to not be depressed. Say it. Say, I'm okay. I don't have to be depressed or oppressed or possessed. I am free. That's my choice. That's my decision. That's my contract. That's my coven. That's my covenant. Come on, let's make it work. We can make this happen if we want to. Something dropped. I don't know what it was. Now, there is when I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, good is just the desire to, something that is desirable. Let me ask you to think again, what is most desirable in your life? If I were to ask you to make a list of the 5 most important things in your life, what would they be? The things that you desire the most. Most folks would say love, peace, security or prosperity. I want to get along. I want to like me more. Religion tends to make us feel unworthy or sinful or inadequate. That's its design. The word actually means to bind or be bound. Now, some people never go to church, but they're severely religious. They're bound in the marriage, bound on the job, bound in their mentality. Don't get along with the kids. Don't hang out with their siblings. You can't get because it's this thing in there, and you actually made a commitment to that, and it follows you. We're going to break that covenant just in a second. When we leave, you're going to do it mentally. You're just going to make up our mind. I'm breaking covenant with all deadly negative hang-ons or cling-ons that just try to stay attached to you. What do you really feel when you look in the mirror in the morning? Could be rather disastrous. How about when you look in the mirror at night and you've been through the day? That can be disastrous too. If you're looking only at physicality. Do like this one more time. Come on, stretch. Hi. Oh my God. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, jeez. I make a covenant with that good feeling right now. I enter covenant with it. Doing this to yourself. Do what you need to do. And in the process, do what you want to do. Every day, there are things you have to do. There are things you need to do. There are things you're supposed to do. There are things you want to do. And there are things you get to do. In what order do you use that? I'm supposed to, I've decided that I'm going to start enjoying the things that I get to do. Not just what I have to do, need to do, what I'm supposed to. Just do what you get to do. Let's do some put a little sign say, I'm gonna do my get to do's. I'm going to enjoy my get-to-dos. I get to be alive. I get to think. I get to make choices. I get to make covenants. I get to break covenants when I need to. I get to do me and be me. I'm a free spirit. I'm a free soul. Whom the Lord has set free is free indeed. The Lord is you. The Lord don't set you free. You set you free. The Lord manifests, or God, whoever manifests itself to you, through you, as you, to make you free. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ consciousness has made you free, and be not again entangled with a yoke of bondage. Bondage is a yoke. Don't be entangled with a yoke of bondage. It's taken me a long time because I'm learning how to get free every day from all the presuppositions and the notions of everybody else's opinion of me. Thank God I can finally be me. That don't mean I am me. I just know that I can be. Thank you, great God, masterful intelligence. Thank you, science and energy and divine influence, for the power of choice and of the covenant you have with creation that makes it thrive. Thank you for the seasons of life, whether fall or winter or spring or summer, the high times and low times, the cold and the hot. Thank you for all the people you put in our lives and the situations that demand us to stretch and expand. Thank you for the command of the universe that we survive our existence in it and as part of it. And thank you for that deep and abiding eternal yes that we find so curious and so interesting and so adventurous in us. Thy kingdom come, great God, thy will be done in the name and nature of all that's good in Christ, in us manifesting as same. Thank you, God. Everybody say, thank you, God. Say it again, thank you, God. And so it is. Turn to somebody and say, I'm blessed, I'm rich, and I'm debt-free. Make a covenant with that.
you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256 or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.